Good afternoon, everyone. I am Tracy Rollins Johnson, the National Service Officer here at Serve DC. And here with me is my colleague Jesse Chavez, our Grants Management Specialist. We're excited to be working with each of you this program year and learning more about your individual programs. The next 17 slides, this presentation will be focused on how to prepare for your site visit. We want the information presented here to be useful to you while preparing for your site visit. We'll be discussing monitoring definition and grant requirements, goal of monitoring, site visit planned agenda, key document review pre-site visit, key document review date of site visit, organizational assessment and risk pre and post, tips for successful site visit, prohibited activities, what if non-compliance occurs, ongoing communication as a monitoring tool, monitoring follow-up, and resources. Code of Federal Regulations 45 CFR 2541.400 Monitoring and Reporting Program Performance. Grantees are responsible for managing the day-to-day operations of a grant and sub-grant supported activities. Grantees must monitor grant and sub-grant supported activities to ensure compliance with applicable federal requirements and that the performance goals are being achieved. Grantee monitoring must cover each program, function, or activity. The goals of monitoring are learning, finding out about AmeriCorps program activities and community partnerships, publicity, hearing about success stories, compliance, assuring that all federal, state, local, contractual, and organizational specific regulations, policies, and provisions are being followed, monitoring progress, comparing actual outputs and outcomes to the performance measures, and technical assistance to improve overall quality of the program. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Jesse.
Hello, everyone. The site visit planned agenda begins with the introduction site visit briefing. It includes a discussion on program progress, identification of training and technical assistant needs, a brief overview of visit expectation. The program management review includes a review self-assessment, review desk audit of policies and procedures, organizational policies and procedures, program staff oversight. The general grant review and program overview include review progress towards objectives and performance measures, data collection, evaluations, and tools, review of progress reports. The planned agenda also includes AmeriCorps members and staff review, interviews, and discussions and debriefings. The key document review, pre-site visit, depicts all of the documents required prior to your site visit, followed by the key document review, day of site visit. This illustrates a checklist of documents required on the day of the site visit. Please keep in mind, to exercise successful compliance, one must be proactive in having comprehensive monitoring tools, and this is it.
Organizational assessment and risk pre and post. Does your staff know what documentation they need to retain in member files and or secure locations related to the checks and who must be checked? All AmeriCorps members and covered staff listed on your AmeriCorps grant budget must have all their criminal history checks done. Their percentage on the grant doesn't matter. Program staff must certify that future members' required NSOPW has been run, reviewed, and approved, as well as their state and FBI criminal history checks. For staff with no access or episodic access, you will need two components: NSOPW before hours start of work, and FBI or state checks no later than the first day hours start. For staff with access to vulnerable populations, you will need three components: NSOPW before hours start of work, FBI checks no later than the first day hours start, and state checks, state of service, and state of residence no later than the first day's hours start. What we are looking for: member service agreement, ensuring member contracts are signed and dated by the member before his or her term of service began, and in-service activities, member trainings, timesheets, member evaluations, health and child care notifications, and member evaluations and portal exits. Here are some tips for a successful site visit. In-depth reviews of member documentation, not just present but also content. Performance measurement, symptomatic process of tracking your program or project's output and outcomes. AmeriCorps programs are required to create performance measures to be tracked, reported on a semi-annual basis in the Grantee Progress Report. And application and screening process and portal enrollment. As I mentioned previously, review criminal history check documentation for members and staff, ensure appropriate tracking verification of staff and member time, review financial transactions and match documentation, utilize secure file transfer systems, and tracking through eGrants and Encore systems.
What cannot be done with AmeriCorps? Prohibited activities. Activities that staff, members, and volunteers may not engage while charging time to the AmeriCorps program, accumulating service or training hours, or otherwise performing activities supported by the AmeriCorps program or CNCS. As you think of how your organization may use AmeriCorps members, reflect on the categories provided of what members should not do nor recruit others to do. These would include political activities and advocacy, religious activities, benefiting for-profit entities, voters registration, and abortion services. Now, what if noncompliance occurs? Document the issue. Specify required corrective actions in writing. Notify CNCS if appropriate and applicable. Retrain staff and/or members. Follow up within a reasonable period of confirmed correction. Disallow hours and/or costs if needed. We cannot stress enough. Document, document, document. Please ensure you keep a record. Monitoring follow-up. After your site visit, you will receive a site visit feedback letter, site visit follow-up letter if a follow-up is needed, and a site visit closeout letter. Ongoing communication as a monitoring tool, monthly one-on-one check-in calls, email correspondence, progress and financial reports, reimbursement requests, member training. ServeDC recognizes that building a trusting relationship with our grantees is key to a successful partnership. We have compiled a list of various online resources to assist in the understanding of AmeriCorps programs, funding, and maintaining a successful grant program. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for tuning in. Make it a great day.